Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this new live session of Tuesday. We are closing into the end of August. Still, we have a lot of things to cover and things to start working on. And today we have a very special live session, so let's get started. Okay, so let's start this live session with the basics. What is Customily? Most of you installed the app quite recently and are either getting started with your store from scratch or beginning the process of selling personalizable products on an existing store. For both cases, we have the perfect tools to get started. So, Customily is an app that provides your store with live previews of products, along with options that your customers can interact with, changing those live previews with every interaction. So, for example, we can go from text typing to clip art selection or, for example, image upload, and your preview will change live and give you a realistic example of how your customization will look on the product. For example, I can type in this particular pillow product. I can type in like that, click on clip arts to select from different designs and clip arts, change as well colors from our variants, and upload images. Manipulate them in any way I want to make sure they are a great fit to my design. And you see, as a customer, I'm personalizing this product exactly the way I want with the options that the store provides me, the merchant provides me, and I get to see my live preview. I get to see that, click on the preview button and see that bigger, and add to cart. Now, once you purchase this, the merchant will get not only the preview that your customer saw and created, each single information that they uploaded, selected, and typed, and also Customily will create the ready to print file. So imagine and think about how would you customize this before Customily? You will have to offer a lot of images of available designs, available choices. Have your customers select those choices and input them in a notes area before they purchase, and then you will have to take those notes, go back and forth with the customer over email until you land with a nice proof of what they want, and then you need to create the print file. Now, Customily has done everything for you in that process, all within this instance here. Now, in order for this to work, what's going on is that Customily is loading here a template and the option set and the group of options that will change that template. So these two files, the template and the option set, are the main elements of Customily, and you create them in the app. So basically, if you follow the steps of creating a template from scratch, you can automatically create the options that will change that template. And then within the app, you can connect and link these two files to any existing product. So that's how you would turn a common listing into a customly using listing with all the advantages we talk about. But not only that, there's also the chance for you to create a brand new product. So what is this Customily 2.0? This is our latest update for Etsy and Shopify stores. This allows you to create and publish personalized products easier, faster, and better than before. Now, those starting your stores from scratch will have more interest in this section because now you can choose a product directly from a print-on-demand supplier, add a design to it, and get it published in your Shopify store, all from the Customily app, right? So those working with print-on-demand providers don't have to create the products, list them on Shopify, and go into Customily. You can do the opposite way around and start in Customily and do everything from Customily. Now, these print-on-demand services, some of them will have an API connection, and with those PODs with an API connection, all the fulfillment processes will be automated. Now, this means that once you receive a purchase, all the order details and the ready-to-print file will be sent to the corresponding print-on-demand provider automatically for fulfillment and shipping. Customization from your customer is saving you time creating the print file, and now can also save you time by automatically sending that print file for fulfillment. So just think about all the time you're saving with all the processes automated in Customily. And if you're getting started, another interesting feature is the free access to use and sell, or actually grab those exclusive clipart collections and create your own designs. So not only we have all the services to automate, if you need to a nice inspiration to get started and a nice push, you have these cliparts like the one you see in the girl's t-shirt. Those cliparts are available in Customily for you to get creative. So when we talk about creating new products, creating new listings on your store, on your Etsy or Shopify store, there are 4 ways to use Customily 2.0. You can work with a print-on-demand provider who has its own product catalog and add a design from the Customily's library to it. The first one is the fastest path and the one that allows you to have a published product ready to sell in minutes. Now you can work with a print-on-demand provider, but choose to add your own designs to their products. In this case, you will have to populate your design library before being able to publish products. But once you have your designs ready, it's the same process you did with Customily designs. Now, on the other hand, if you have your own products and you're not interested in working with a print-on-demand provider, you are your own workshop, for example, and you have your own stock of products, the way to go is to start by populating your product-based library first. After you have your own product mockups, you can choose to add a design from the Customily's library to them and create these products right after that. Or you can, of course, add your own designs to your own products. And this is the path that will take a bit more of time. But once you have all your product mockups and all your designs set up, you'll just have a mix and match game to create products by combining product information and design information. In the end, when you add the product information and the design information, you basically create a template. And remember, the template is what's going to load on the front end. So it's very important to understand that you can always build that template or have Customily build that for you using Customily 2.0. Okay, now, but enough of getting all technical on this. You can always ask questions along the way. We're going to share our screen again to see a couple of examples. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Imagine I'm a store owner. I want to start selling personalizable products, and I just install Customily to try it out. This is the main menu of Customily. And here you can see that we have the chance to start creating a new product from the beginning. Aside from that, we also have these sections to the left. The first 3 sections are shortcuts to 2.0 tools. So from the very beginning, we can start creating new products. We can manage our designs and ideas. And also, if we have our own workshop, we can create our product pages. Now, the next 3 icons, the next 3 sections are the main core of Customily. In the templates section, you can create, you can explore and manage your templates. You can upload and organize your assets in libraries, colors, fonts, vectors, and image libraries. And in the store section, you can see all your connected products as well as change many settings that will help you customize the front-end experience of your customers. And today, we want to go deep into the store section. The order dashboard is where you're going to start to see the orders that are placed in your store from Customily. So whenever a customer customizes something in your store, in your page, for example, they customize this pillow from Mother's Day and they purchase this, the order with all the information of what they uploaded and they type in will go to, of course, it's going to be available on Shopify and Etsy dashboards, but at the same time, it's going to be here in the orders dashboard. So let's try to focus this on a different approach for today. This is my store. You have seen this store before. We have created a lot of products together, and I just pick a couple of them because I want you to see different ways of customizing the way things show. Why do we have so many possibilities in the front end? Basically, because each store is unique. Each theme is unique, even if you have a standard theme or something that has been pre-built from any store, like in the case of of Shopify. You can always do changes, modify stuff, add a special gallery, a special zoom, and so those adjustments can change the way customers experience your product page. If you have a lot of product images because you have a lot of lifestyle images of the product, a lot of examples, mockups, and you want that to showcase at the beginning, and you want people to get attracted to that and then go customize, you may not want to see all the options together at the beginning. You may not want to see all this. You may want to see just a customize button, for example. Okay, so in that case, there's a lot of ways to play around with the preview. And we are going to jump right into the store section. Another way to jump to different sections in the store is by going to here, which home is where we are right now. Products, we have seen this before, is where you see all products available in your store, and you can filter by those linked to Customily, they have a check mark, or not linked to Customily. I don't have much apparently, but there are some products not linked to Customily. And all products will always show you everything you have in your store. If you have more than one store connected to your account, it's going to show up in this drop down here. So you can jump to different stores and you can enable settings depending on the store, as well as connect the products. When you pick on any product, like the Mother's Day pillow, you will see the listing photo, the name of the product, eye icon to jump straight to the front end to see this product. But also you see that there's a template linked to the product and an option set, meaning that these two files, remember the core elements of Customily, are linked to this product, so this product is customizable using Customily. I could click on these crosses here and save that setting to disconnect, to unlink the product in from Customily and have this become a regular listing, just like that. If you want to check all your options set, because for example, when you want to check all your templates, there's a special section called templates where you will see all templates that have been created by Customily, by you, everything you may have cloned because you wanted to do some changes and see how they look, but you want to break the original, so you make clones. And the option sets are also stored and organized in the option set section. In here, you get a chance to see every single option set that is being used or has used at some point in your store. For example, if I were to try and delete an option set that is connected to a product is going to tell me that there's actually a product using this option set and you cannot delete. So it's a great way to see and manage your option sets, to maybe delete some some duplicated option sets. Sometimes you create something and then you save it as a draft and you create that again and you forget about the first one. So obviously every operation you make in Customily leaves a file, and everything can be found here and can be managed in any way you want. But what happens with the settings part? We have seen the settings section before because we have come always to integrations where we can integrate with print-on-demand providers when we start creating products. We want to fulfill with Printful, Printify, ShineOn, Custom Cut, and many others. Then we pick from this list, we enable them, and after we find the API key, we save the settings. So this is a known section of the settings area. But what happens with the rest of the sections? We have 5 different tabs, and today we're going to explore them because we feel it's time for you to start to see that there are other ways you can also customize Customily to benefit the process and the experience of your store. To begin with, the preview behavior section. This is where you control how the preview and the options will show up in your store. By default, we try to we start off in the modal preview. Modal basically is like a pop-up. It's a floating window that will allow you to customize without affecting anything about the rest of the store. In my case, what I have selected is the other choice, which is the product page preview. This means that I can tell Customily to load everything on the product page preview, to load the preview, to load the options all together. And if I were to change this, for example, to modal, see that I am actually changing only desktop devices. You can modify this for desktop and mobile separately, so you don't have to you can customize the experience depending on your device. That's very important. Let's say I want to change this to modal preview and scroll all the way down to save it. Once it goes green, all I have to do is refresh this to see how things will look now in the front end. Right now, what you see is, because this is a customizable product, instead of having an add to cart button, you have a personalize. And you can click here. You will never stop seeing the main listing, but instead of purchasing right away, you're going to click personalize, and this is the pop-up. The modal, basically, it's a window that will show up here, and once you finish, the add to cart is on the modal itself. Why, when you use, on which cases will you use a modal? Well, depends on how crowded and full of information you may have your main page. You may want to see to systemize everything here, maybe show a lot of the product and then go customize. So you may want to separate the customization process from the purchase itself. That's one way of thinking about that. Another way is, another preview style is this middle one, the show preview button. Each time you toggle something, you will see that there are descriptions explaining you what you're actually activating. But basically, the show preview button will not display the live preview. Instead, it's going to gather the information and preview at the end. Sometimes it's very handy when you are typing a lot and you actually want the customers to type and select, but don't actually need them to focus on the live changes, just the final result. So let me scroll down, save this, go to refresh. Now you see the options are here, but basically once you have all the information, you can preview what you did without a preview. That would be the show preview button. Now, another thing you can do whenever you start clicking on this, this, or this is that more options will show up, more toggles will show up below this. For example, the show preview button is this final revision that you see. Aside from the live preview, you have the button that is pretty handy, and I use that a lot. Let me save this and show again. Right. For example, right now, whenever I customize something, okay, I'm able to click here on preview, and of course, I'm going to see the same as I do here. But this big image at the top, I can actually save this, and that's why it's very useful to have the preview button, especially when you have a lot of options and you're scrolling down and down. Is that you can save this image and use it as listing photos. Let me show you what could be when we have 3 different dogs. We have the first dog, the breed, then we scroll down, have the second dog, and the last one like that. So yeah, definitely it's not refreshing because it's not showing the live preview. Oh, there's the preview button. Yeah. Okay. So we have this. We have this. You see, I keep scrolling down, and sometimes the preview can go with me. Sometimes it stays all the way up. So if the preview is all the way up, all I have to do is click here to see the final result. Now, the reason why the preview is always following me is because I have something enabled called the sticky preview on desktop. Sticky preview basically will follow you whenever you are scrolling down in the options, so you never lose track of your customization. You can enable or disable this at any point, and you have another setting called the show preview when all required options are filled. This is very interesting because sometimes people forget there are required items. So even though you cannot add to cart if you have required items, what you can definitely happen is that you may preview stuff halfway there. And if you preview stuff halfway there, you may not be happy and feel something is not finished. So these settings could actually have customers never forget they need to upload something or customize something. Let me see if I can refresh and have all things working. So I want to add to cart right now, and I need to, these are required. And if I were to type in here, yeah, and I go to preview, actually, again, I have to fill out this in order to see the preview. So having required fields and having those settings will help you set up, if you want, like warnings for your customers so they don't go out or leave a customization empty. Then on the other settings we can explore, we have the loading of the preview. We can load the preview by default or not. So when you enable this, the listing photo will show up, but it will immediately be replaced by the preview of the template. If you don't have this enabled, this preview by default, then only when you start customizing, then the preview will show up. Basically, allowing this and also allowing the preview to change when you change variants. This is very important when you have variants with Customily's function, when ideas. For example, in this case, we have color variants. So we want to allow Customily to change. You see the preview has changed automatically. The listing photo changed automatically to the preview. And whenever I start playing with these variants that have Customily function, is going to change that automatically. Sometimes it will not change until you start customizing. So those small settings are very unique and exclusive depending on what kind of choices you want to offer on your customizations. Like I said, there's no obvious reason that, yes, this product page is the best way to go. Sometimes the modal is the best way to go. It's up to you. Sometimes you don't want to show the preview, or maybe you only want to show a preview button. And mobile and desktop will be different, of course. And at the end, we have a couple of extra settings. Very important settings, the personalization style. You can make the personalization optional. How is that? Your product may be sold empty or may be sold with a customization. So for that to happen, you may not want your customers to trigger Customily, they just want to add to cart. So right now you see we have a preview that is not needed because there's nothing to be chosen. Add to cart right there. You see, this right combination is not nice for me because now I don't want this show preview button because I'm making customization optional. So I can toggle them any way I want until I find the perfect adjustment for this. Now I can add to cart basically, and nothing, you see, I just added to cart. Remember, I had required fields, so I couldn't add to cart. But now that my personalization is optional, I can actually add to cart without touching anything about Customily. But if I want to play around with Customily, I can click here and then I'm going to edit my personalization. And then, yes, I need those fields in order to add to cart. So making customization optional is very handy when you have products that can be sold with or without customization. There are some settings to adjust the preview, and the image will slightly downsize when you have upload images. For example, when I click on upload my image, the preview will slightly change or adjust or not, but that's something that you may toggle or not depending on your theme and your gallery. By default, this will look nice and the control buttons will be somewhere below. And you can also enable zoom. You can have no zoom or zoom on hover or zoom on click. So whenever you start customizing, you can actually zoom in if you are customizing something a bit smaller in the rest of the design and you want to see that up close. And you can also enable the zoom for mobile devices. This will enable a small plus that you can click on your mobile device. In fact, we're going to actually do that now. I have something saved here for testing the preview style. Let me go to, for example, this product. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to already save the settings. And let's see how this product page with sticky preview on mobile should look on a mobile case. We are going to grab this product, copy the link here, and we're going to see this on an iPhone, for example, or an Android, on any device you want. This is a testing ambience to check out. For example, let's pick this iPhone 14 in Chrome and see how things look on a real device. Of course, you can always go to the inspect tab and change the way, but there are some services that can actually give you this. Okay, and then I'm going to change this URL here. And this is how it's going to load on the front end. These are the options, and then I can pick the options. For example, one dog, and start customizing. See this. This is how you will do this on mobile. Okay. How it will look on the front. Click to zoom in. Let's see if we can change this to modal preview. And see if we come here and refresh this. So now you see I have this button that says personalize, and I get to see this modal. The modal on mobile looks like this. You go one step at a time, customizing options. So first you select this, then you go and type the dog name. Oh, sorry. Let's go and try again on the phone. see how this looks on the personalized here. So like I said, we want this is a modal. The modal has steps. So you first select the number of dogs, you type in the name of the dog, then you pick the breed, and also if you want other choices, you can browse for the different breeds. Yeah, 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 and then you go and you can click to zoom again and add to cart like that. Oh, just add to cart. But this is how you will look uh, like a model will look on the product page. Kind of quite handy. So you see, apparently the way I have set up my store, product page preview is nice for desktop devices and model style is good for mobile devices. So this is my new setting. I want to set this button again. Stickies previews by default. Okay, yeah. So playing around with these toggles, reading carefully what everything involves, you'll be able to shape up the way options will show up in your store. Now that you have the options clear and the preview loading exactly the way you want, then you can start playing around with the styles. The styles are quite funny actually because this is kind of the other side of the customization experience is the attractiveness and the way uh, you present and showcase the options. By default, for example, I have these options. Let me just refresh this. So I remove the customization optional and everything, just looking the way I want. You see, my options are jumping, are floating around here, but I could actually make them more attractive by, for example, adding a background to the options. When I set a background, I can actually change this to something else like this. Yeah, this is my new background color. Also, the scroll bar can be or not enabled depending on how many options you have. Sometimes you actually may have a scroll bar here if there's a lot of options like the ones that's showing here, but right now the way it is, I'm scrolling everything on the page. But depending on your theme, these scroll bars will be separated from the main ones. So this toggle is here to help you out. And then we can also set this if we want accordions. Why to use accordions? Honestly, I don't know. They look nice depending on the type of options and customizations. So it's a setting you can play around with. There's no problem in saving and reloading and checking out. Tooltips are the floating elements you see here: birds, flowers, rainbows. By default, you will have the same name that the option has, will be the tooltips. Sometimes you may want to have the option with a special code, but then you want the custom tooltip, so it says, I don't know, blue, but it has like a SKU in the option, something like that. Or you don't want any tooltip at all. So checking this and seeing if you want this matching, showing or not showing at all is entirely up to you, but the choice is there. Let me save this with the accordions in the background and show you how things look. You see now, these are accordions, meaning that they are packed up like this. You open them one or the other, and you see they're never collapsing and expanding together. They are one at a time. That's the accordions and how they work. And the background is the color we set up. Depends on the aesthetics of your store if you want this to show with a background or not. In this case, we're going to take away the background, take away the scroll bar. No, sorry, scroll bar, no, the accordions. And let's check out what's below here. See, there's a lot of space to keep adding more features. Swatch styles. There's an automatic setting that will crop the images to fit the swatch size. Imagine you have um, this balloon with the rest of a white space around. Basically, because in the same object you have one balloon, you have other images up to 10 balloons. And how will that look when Customily creates the thumbnail automatically? It's probably going to show a lot of white space and a small balloon in the middle. So what this toggle does is basically run a special tool that will crop whatever image is on the object itself and make it a zoom so it looks like that. So for example, let me give you this. Uh, since many of these dogs are actually bigger or smaller, you see, for example, this is pretty big compared to this. Let me show this. So the box is the same, and right, so the box will show. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can. I wanted to draw, but the box containing this dog is the same box that will contain this small dog, meaning that this small dog, the first and the third one, will have an empty space on top. If you want to use that image to be your swatch, you will see on top of this dog an empty space. Now, what the tool does is crop out, so you always see the dogs in the fitting space of a square, even though you know this dog is way smaller than this dog. Yet they are all cropped out and zoom in to fit the thumbnail, meaning it's going to look nicer, bigger, more detailed for the customer to see. And this toggle is what enables that tool. What about the shape of the swatches? You can actually change this to square or circle, as well as change the color of the selecting frame. Very silly, but we're trying to get to an example. Now you see I have this in these swatches are circular, and whenever I pick them, the frame changes. May not be like this, but if your aesthetics goes a bit like this blue or whatever, this could actually be part of the aesthetic process of picking something and having seen that in the exact color. So let's go back to square and, or actually, yeah, sorry, keep it circular. And you see by default, we can have small, medium, or large size for the swatches, or make it custom and do it yourself. Right now, my swatches are 60 pixels, but if I were to put this in 100, I could check out how it looks. Bigger, yeah. So, do we want this? Who knows? Maybe yes. That's the great thing about Customily. Actually, you can play around to find the exact size. Right now, I'm going to see how the new swatches will look on the dogs. So I'm going to pick one dog, and I have a big set of circular swatches, and my dogs look really amazing and big. So maybe I may want to reduce the size of these swatches, these thumbnails, maybe to 95, 96. So I will have a specific grid of dogs showing here, right? So bigger, smaller will have empty areas or not. This is for you to play around and see what suits best to your store. But the tools are amazing because it's going to give you a lot of freedom to shape up your storefront. And in that same line, we have the button styles. Button styles can have a lot of details. For example, we can set the text inside of that. So instead of personalize, we could actually set a text that personalized will be the button that shows whenever you have the personalization optional or you have the add to cart removed. So instead of personalize, why don't we type let's get creative? right? Let me, yeah, let's create, yeah. And you can toggle this on and adjust the aesthetics of the button, the background, the border, the text, and the size of the font, the width of the border, as well as the radius of the border. This is the let's create button, and we can do the same with the show preview button. Right now, the show preview button says preview only, and is this one, yeah. And the share button, we're going to see what share customization is now. You can also customize this, the share button, and you can customize the add to cart as well, and customize the upload as well. So every button that you can think of. Also change the zoom button text that will show up depending here. If you have a zoom on click or zoom on hover, you will be able to type in the message. In fact, you can also customize the message of the require fields. So you forgot this. So let's save this, and we need to actually go to preview behavior and change this to modal so we can see the let's create button. Yeah, let's save it, and now let's refresh. It's going to be fun putting things back together after all this breaking. But now you see, let's create is your first button, and you put here and this the share, the add to cart, the select image, and where is the one? Oh yeah, add to cart. Yeah, you forgot this. This is the one, this is the text we changed. So that's how you can customize everything on the styles section. So let's switch this back. Let's keep it like this. Yeah, save it. And preview behavior will be product page, save settings again. So on the styles part, that's pretty much what we're going to be playing with. But there's a couple of things you also may want to explore. In the advanced tab, basically you can manage how you save and share personalizations. You will see that I have a button called share customization here. Share customization basically will create a unique link that you can send over social media, or copy the link basically and share that to a friend, family, whatever. Imagine you find a product, you customize that, and you share that customization to someone so someone can actually open the link, load every single piece of information you put already, and that person can do the purchase. It's very easy for teenagers who don't actually have a credit card, but or just you want to send a gift or whatever. Say, oh, I found this nice product and I customize you like this with your dog, and you send that over, and maybe the other person will be so thrilled with the idea that's going to actually buy that. So allow personalization sharing will create that extra button in the front end. Saving personalization data after adding to cart. This will give you the chance to retrieve that information when you are on the cart and you realize you actually made a mistake, you change your mind on the color or whatever. Instead of going back to the product, instead of personalizing again and adding to the cart again, you can jump in, jump out from the cart back to the customization. Also, this personalization data will be saved on a link that will go to the order, so there's always a backup of this information. The same goes with the edit personalization data. Basically, if you navigate out of the cart and you come back, you can always edit that product and edit those options within the cart, and you don't have to actually repeat the whole process from the product itself. You can set if you want a preview image to the order information. That's actually very handy for merchants. Integrations tab is the one we all know, and developer settings. I'm just going to run really fast on top of this. Those who really want to go deep into Customily and into web page designing and know JavaScript and know CSS coding, they can. There's a lot of documentation on our help center in how you can create your own classes, your own script, and connect to pieces of Customily that are loading on your front end. Basically, in the custom CSS, you can input stuff without affecting your code, your theme code, or you want some extra functionality, you want to change some fonts to something specific, or add a link before you upload an image. For example, when you upload an image and you need to know um, the rules of what kind of images you need to upload, all those kind of things can be customized on the aesthetic part, the sizes of the boxes or the sizes of the text areas, everything can be altered here without uh, without affecting anything about the theme. It's something that is inside. It's an instruction in Customily that will work on whatever theme is located. There are some theme related settings that will not go into that detail, but there's a lot of documentations on the support area. This is the help center. Browsing through this from the developer settings is a great way to see if you can actually improve any other behavior of Customily. And at the end, if you actually want to disable Customily because you need to run some tests or you need to do some diagnosis, you always have the chance to do that. Well, now I hope you have things more clear on the preview styles, on the styles themselves, on the buttons and colors available, and everything you can do extra aside from just offering customization to your customers. You can do more. You can give an entire entourage and experience with accordions, with a special background, with um, eye-catching buttons and phrases and messages. It's not just the standard texts you can do. You can customize everything on that experience. If you have other questions, please write to support@customily.com. We have a great team helping out customers. They also have the chance for you to open a live chat in the app. We have a live chat open in office hours EST. And also join, please, our Facebook communities because there's a lot of talking and helping and asking questions around for other members of the community to answer them, to support each other. And we are also there helping people. So it's a great place to exchange knowledge. And well, that's all for today. Thank you all for joining. I hope you had a great time. We're going to see you on Thursday, and we're going to start with just one of the first editions of Halloween related products. So see you next Thursday. Bye.